Welcome back to the Clemson Indoor Practice Facility. Gavin looks a little bit different today. We've got Joanne joining us for our Tuesday Tiger Talk today. Gavin's a little bit under the weather. Had Dabo today. We had a couple players. Had a ton of players yesterday. Joanne, we're going to go ladies first, and I'm going to let you start. What's one of the things you heard from Dabo's press conference today?
Well, he was asked about how this is yet again another noon game, and his answer was pretty simple. He just doesn't care. He is here to coach his Tigers. He is not here to care about what the game time is, and all he cares about this week is preparing them to beat Florida State, and that is his #1 priority. And he says, why worry about something that he cannot control? So that was what he had to say today about that.
He had the same question from a fan on the radio show last night. So today it kind of seemed like he's like, I'm tired of talking about this. We'll go on one of my little Dabo rants and see if I can put that to bed. Will, what's some of the stuff you heard today from Dabo?
Well, and kind of going with that a little bit, it wasn't just a rant that he kind of like, you could tell he was really aggravated about it. I mean, that's the way I took it anyway. Like, he just didn't, he's like, when I first got the job here, that's all I heard. What uniform are we wearing? When are we kicking off? And he's like, he said, I figured I got that mess out of here,
Yeah, y'all hear that? All y'all out there that want those weird uniforms? Dabo doesn't. That just goes 100% against everything Dabo preaches.
Absolutely. So that's why, as long as Dabo Sweeney's the head coach, you'll never see those crazy uniform combinations that Oregon and those guys wear with the chrome helmets. And I gotta say, how I am with chrome helmets. If you see a chrome helmet, think about the teams that generally wear the chrome helmets, other than Notre Dame because they have the gold. Most of them.
We could go on for an hour here.
Most of them, if you think about it, are teams that have programs that have never done anything in football. Nothing. Think about, hey, we're on a Clemson website, so I'll say this. Think about how many times South Carolina has changed its helmets in the last 20 years. I think I counted 17 different helmet combinations from South Carolina.
Saying it hadn't worked for them?
Since Clemson has theirs, which is set now, which has been set this way since 1976, South Carolina's changed theirs like 17 or 18 times.
You know what's scary is Will knows that.
Because I am. I hate helmets and people changing their uniforms and all. I hate that.
Gavin's laughing.
The teams that are really good, Alabama, Clemson, traditional teams, generally don't touch their helmets. Generally, they let the skill do the talking. There you go. So anyway, now get back to what I was really talking about. See, I got on my rant. Yeah, I think the thing that came out of me was Dabo was very quick to point out, hey, look, I'm 1-9 versus Florida State in recruiting. And he's like, so he's saying, yeah, they're 4-3, but don't look at the record. Look at the players. They got a lot of good players on the team. Obviously, Francois is probably one of the better quarterbacks Clemson's going to see this season. He's really pitching and catching it all over the place right now. He's second in the ACC in yards passing.
He's pitching it and catching it. Well, now, that's a talented quarterback.
He's not catching it, but he's pitching it, and his receivers are catching it. They got the spread. They're kind of getting their rhythm now a little bit. And so he talked about that and talked about, they got Cam Akers, the great running back who was a 5-star guy a couple years ago coming out of high school. So they're studs over there. And, Burns on the defensive side. So he's trying to let everybody know, hey, look, it's still Florida State. It's still going to be a difficult game. It's not going to be like they're just going to go down there and show up and win because they're Clemson. Florida State's got too much pride. They're going to play as if they're playing for an Atlantic Division championship, and Clemson's going to get their best shot.
Players, coaches saying all the right things this week. Doesn't seem like your typical Florida State week just because they don't have the hype on their side, but all the players here, coaches here showing plenty of respect. As you said, Burns, yesterday, Venables compared him to Clowney. Best player, he's defensive end he's seen since Clowney. Obviously, that's a pretty strong statement. Dabo had a little bit different take, talked about how Clowney was a bigger guy, but how this guy was twitchy, I think was the word he used. Lots of talent on the other side. Florida State, as you mentioned, Will recruits with the best of the best. So, this isn't a Syracuse game or a game like that. This is a game where Florida State's got talent equivalent or, close to equivalent to what Clemson's got in some positions. So you got to go on the road. I do think the noon game will help us a little bit. We'll see how all that unfolds. But stay tuned to TCI. We'll have it all covered for you all week long, all weekend long. Stay tuned to TCI for the most complete coverage of Clemson football.